Lesson 2.4, multiplying by two-digit numbers. So I'm going to admit something to you. I have had to re-record this video several times because this method, these two methods that I'm teaching you in this lesson, are not things that I learned as a kid. And I learned a much more traditional way of doing double-digit multiplication. And so it's a little bit uncomfortable for me, and it's a little bit hard for me to see the logic in it. However, I talked to my mom and to my brother, who both have kind of these natural math minds, and this is exactly how they think about these types of problems and can solve them in their heads. So it definitely has value to you to take this lesson and to try it out, because what it does, if you use these methods, is it helps you to think more flexibly as a mathematician, where you don't always have to write things down on paper and you can kind of think things through logically with the zeros and knowing what you know about place value. So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to hope that I can record this in the next take. So here's the example. We're multiplying 12 times 30. And method one is to think about solving this problem by thinking, okay, I've got 12 groups. I've got 10 groups of 12 times 3, because 30 is basically just 3 times 10. So you're looking at 12 times 30 is the same as 12 times 3 times 10. So you can think about it. You've got all these 10 groups of 12 times 3. We know that 12 times 3 equals 36. That's an easy math fact. But 12 times 30 might feel a little bit overwhelming. So if you think about it this way, that 12 times 3 is 36, you've got 10 groups of 12 times 3 equals 36. So you have 10 groups of 36, which you can easily solve in your head, and you know that it's 360. Here's another way to explain it. 12 times 30 is the same as 12 times 3 tens. 12 times 3 tens is the same as 36 tens. 36 times 10 is 360. Here's the second method. Another way you can do it is the traditional writing it down way, where you write down 12 times 3 is 36. And you're just figuring out 12 times 3 first, and then you're adding a 0 to make it 12 times 3 being 12 times 30. So you're multiplying 12 by 3 groups of 10, and you're adding that 0. Now let's practice with this one. Multiplying 60 by 20. You can think in your head, 60 times 20 is the same as 60 times 2 tens. We know that 60 times 2 is 120, so 60 times 2 tens is 120 tens. 120 times 10 is 1,200. So he's thinking in his head, the little owl's thinking in his head, 60 times 2 is 120. I know I have 120 tens, so that is 1,200. For me, I would often, if I was trying to do this as mental math, I might say, oh yeah, 60 times 2 tens, that's pretty easy. It's 120 tens. And I might forget to add that extra 0 at the end, and I might get the wrong answer. So for me, I would probably write it down with 60 times 20. Think about it, that 6 times 2 is 12, and put the zeros in so that you have 2 zeros. Another strategy is to do the multiplication in a traditional way and then check your answer with an estimate. So if we had 63 times 28, you're going to multiply the ones first. So 63 by 8 ones. 8 times 3 is 24. 8 times 6 is 48 plus 2 is 50. So you have 504 here. Then you're going to go ahead and multiply 63 by 2 tens. So you're taking 2 times 3 is 6, and 6 times 2 is 12. And you're putting that here and you're adding it together, kind of the traditional way of multiplying. And you can double check that you did this correctly by estimating the value. So 63 rounds to 60. And 28 rounds to 30. 60 times 30 is 1,800. When you compare 1,800 to 1,764, that's pretty close. So the estimate shows that the answer, 1,764 or 1,764, is reasonable. For the guided learning, you're going to go ahead and multiply these using whichever method feels comfortable to you. And then you're going to estimate to check and see if your answers are reasonable.